today's video, I have 3 easy and cheap Halloween crafts for you guys. Each craft takes less than a half hour to do, so let's get on into it. Alright, so for this first project, you'll need a mirror, black paint, gilding wax, Mod Podge, and spooky papers. We actually found this mirror at a garage sale for $10. It's pretty battered and worn and you can't really see in the glass. So my mother came up with an idea to salvage it by making it even more spooky. It's missing pretty large sections of the wood, and this makes it a different color where the wood is gone, and it's pretty obvious when you look at it. We're evening out the base color of the mirror by painting it black all over. If you get a mirror that's newer or in better condition, then this is a step that you can probably skip. But for ours, we were just roughly pushing the paint around. This is going to be covered later with the gilding wax, but it gives a good base to start off. This mirror is actually quite large, and it took probably 10 minutes to paint the base black. Again, throughout the year we collected little scraps of paper that we thought would work for this craft. As an alternative, you could easily print off whatever designs you want on the mirror. We chose skeletons and newspapers mostly. An idea I thought would be neat is a botanical themed mirror. I think it would look like something an old forest witch would own. Next, you will want to rip up your pieces of paper into sections and glue it on the mirror. Put a layer of Mod Podge on top of the paper as well. It dries clear so you won't even notice it, but I would recommend using matte Mod Podge. If you don't have Mod Podge, you can take Elmer's glue and mix some water into it, and that works as a great alternative. Something that's great about using these kinds of glues is that they are pretty easily removable. So you could take a razor blade or even sometimes warm water and remove anything that you don't want. So if you really wanted to revert the mirror back to its original state, you would be able to. That said, it would probably be time consuming, and I don't know if you'd want to do that. We used our newspaper clippings as the bottom layer and then decorated that with accent pieces of skeletons and branches on top. I think if we were to change one thing about the way that we did this, it would be to make sure that all of the paper is sort of similar in color. As you can see, a lot of the newspaper pieces are pretty yellow, and then our skeleton pieces are more of a bright white. So it might be a little more finalized looking if all of the paper looked of the same age. Alright, so now we are on the final step. All I'm doing here is taking some gilding wax on a paper towel and rubbing it into the wood. You really don't need a lot of this stuff because a little goes a long way. I would recommend wearing gloves though, because it's hard to wash off of your hands. It's fun to watch that matte black get transformed into a shiny gold. This is a pretty inexpensive product, especially when you compare it to actually gilding something, and it creates a pretty similar effect in my opinion. Alright, so next up are these glowing Halloween pumpkins that hang from the trees. All you will need is a jar, a flameless candle that works on a timer, zip ties, and a pumpkin. If your pumpkin doesn't have holes in the bottom of it, I would recommend drilling holes. This way, if it rains, water won't sit in it. The hardest part about this craft is turning on the timered candle at the same time you'll want it to turn on every evening. Making it so that it stays in the tree is pretty easy. All we do is take a zip tie and zip tie it to the tree branch. You might need to use a ladder if you have a bigger tree than ours. We had to use one for some of the upper branches. Make sure you use proper ladder safety. I'm not completely sure if the jars are necessary, However, we use them to protect the flameless candles from the rain so that they last longer. This is actually a really fun, easy, kid-friendly craft, and it feels really rewarding in the end when you see them lit up at night. Okay, so this last craft is probably the easiest and quickest of them all, not to mention the cheapest. All you're going to need is these plastic bats, a strip of magnets that has adhesive on one side, and a metal garage door. Unfortunately, I did not film us making these, but all you need to do is snip the adhesive magnet into small pieces. You can get a roll of the magnets for about $5 on Amazon. You just peel the sticker back off the magnet pieces and adhere them to the back side of the bats. This makes these decorative bats a decoration you can use year after year. As you can see, it creates a pretty grand effect when you have a bunch of them.